In today's training video, we are going to be going over how to break through your plateaus. Inevitably, this happens for everyone, right? Whether it's a year into training, 2 years into training, 5 years into training, multiple times into training. But you train for a little bit, you work out, you eat right, start to adapt this lifestyle, see results, you get super excited about it. Happened to me as well. Then you get to a certain point where the biceps stop growing, the scale stops moving, the tummy stops shrinking. And even in certain cases, you come to a full stop in any progression, whether it's strength, muscle building, fat loss, athleticism, or you start to feel like you're going backwards almost. Start getting weaker, start getting skinnier if you're trying to build muscle, or you start getting fatter even though you were losing weight for a little bit. So, we're going to be going over what you can do, actionable steps that you can take to get over a plateau, what you should do in these situations when you are faced with a plateau, when you aren't seeing results, when you're digressing. How do you approach it? What are the strategies? Now, in terms of what we need to focus on in this training, always start with a mentality. If your mind's not right, it's going to be very difficult for you to. I'm going to put this on the thing here because I don't want it to be rubbing up against my chest. Start off with mentality. If your mind's not in the right place, your body will not follow, and vice versa. Then we're going to get into the training strategies that you can use to get over plateaus. Then we'll get into the nutrition side of things. And of course, everyone's favorite part, the recovery. But step by step, this will be pretty efficient, but make sure you're taking notes because it's going to be very value heavy and you're going to need to actually take actionable steps on a consistent basis to actually be able to first get over that plateau and then continue to see results. So, mentality. When you hit a plateau, what typically happens? You get discouraged, right? You get lazy. Some procrastination. Oh, if I'm not getting results as quick now, I can put it off, right? I'm happy with where I'm at now. So, if it's so difficult for me to make that extra commitment, that extra step, then I'm just going to put that extra step off because I don't have the time right now, or I don't have the drive right now, or the motivation, or other things are coming up. The problem with all of these level of thinkings, but especially the last one, is you're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. There's no in between. So a plateau just looks like a plateau at first because you're banging your head against a wall. The second you stop banging your head against a wall, you're going to start moving away from that wall. The second you stop, you get discouraged, you get lazy, you start procrastinating, is what starts that slow fall back into where you were at before you started this fitness journey. And you've spent all this time to get to where you're at, only to spend the same amount of effort to not see any more results. But if you ease off the gas pedal at all, you're going to start digressing. It's one of the worst spots to be in, and I understand why it can get you to be discouraged, lazy, and procrastinating. I was in that same position. I've been in that same position probably like 4 or 5 times over the course of me seriously training on all different aspects. When it comes to training athletically, improving my athleticism. When it comes to training for muscle growth, I've had that more than enough times. Strength growth, the most. That's why I hired a powerlifting coach, because I was stuck under 315 on bench for like 3, 4 years, something like that. And so the mentality aspect all comes down to one thing: how you respond to these feelings. The negativity, the discouragement, the laziness, procrastination, all of these start with feelings. It starts with you validating your feelings to the point where you are not taking the action you know you need to. It's very easy at the start to say, I am working out and getting results, therefore it is worth me working out. It becomes a lot more difficult to convince yourself to train hard and to work out if you think, I'm putting in all this effort and getting nothing out of it. So the first perspective that I need you guys to understand is, one, you are not just staying in the same place. If you stop, if you take your foot off the gas, if you stop your momentum in the middle of this journey that you're taking to make your transformation simply because you're not getting the results that you want, then you are going to start to digress. So the work that you're putting in now, even though it was getting you results before and it's not getting you results now, it is still worth doing because it is going to make sure that you don't take steps backwards. So it is super important to stay on top of that disciplined and consistent mindset. You also need to make the switch to understand that this next level is going to require extra dedication and extra commitment. Just like when you first started the fitness journey. When you first started the fitness journey, you had to make another step of dedication, another step of commitment, so that you could leave the level that you were at. In order to get to the next level, you have to do things that you're not doing at this level that will get you to that next level. So a lot of the times, this plateau is just you're now in the position where you need to change something, add something, do something with more vigor, put more effort into it, whatever it is, something else needs to happen for you to get past this plateau to the next level. If you want to get over this plateau, you need to accept the fact that it is going to take something else for you to get to that next level. Now, let's get into training. There are a bunch of different things that you can do to get you over that plateau, get you over this stoppage point. A lot of them have to do with changing things up. Sometimes it can be doing adding more, and sometimes it could also be taking something away. Because sometimes when it comes to training, if we're running into some issues, it could be because we are overtraining. We're not recovering enough. So what this looks like, first things first, switching up tempo. Next thing is switching up your rep range. Third one, switching up your volume, then switching up the variation, then utilizing things like drop sets and rest pause reps. I'll go over each of those individually. Switching up your tempo. We're used to bench pressing like this. Switching up your tempo when you do 3 seconds on the way down, pause even, and then explode on the way up. That can help you get over your plateau, your strength plateau especially, your muscle building plateau especially. 5-second negatives. That's what I started doing. Every single time I hit a strength plateau, I dropped to 3 seconds for 2 weeks, and then I dropped down to 5 seconds. My tempo is super slow. It'll be 6 to 10 reps. I'll be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, drive. And I'll do that with any exercise I'm struggling to progress in. If I'm not adding 5 pounds, that means I'm struggling to progress in. Then I'll add that. I'll drop the weight. I'll slow down the tempo, be super intentional about focusing on my form, and then I'll start to increase the weight from there. And when I get back to the weight that I was before I dropped the tempo, then we just go back to the regular tempo. Simple as that. You can do the same thing for rep range. So if it's typically between 6 to 10 reps and you're failing around the 6 to 8 rep range, bump it up to 8 to 10. Drop it down to 5 to 7. You're hitting around 8 reps, move it up to 10 or drop it down to 5. Switch things around, right? And be consistent with it. You still need to be progressing. So go to the weight that fits you, reaching that almost failure level, and then continue to progress like you would at your rep range that you're normally at. Right? Switching up the volume. What that means is just adding a set or taking away a set. If you're doing 4 sets of bench and you are not improving, it could potentially be worth it to drop down to 3 sets and just hit the first 3 sets harder. Go closer to failure. Or vice versa, if you're only doing 3 sets and you notice that you're struggling to progress in your strength, maybe add on a 4th set. Struggling to build muscle, add on an extra set of bicep curls. Add in an extra set of what you're doing. Don't destroy the workouts that I give you or mess up your entire program just to do more that's unnecessary. Just do more of what you're already doing. Add a set on to one of your exercises or even 2 of your exercises. Just that one extra set could make a huge difference, especially if you hit it with a high intensity. And vice versa. If you take 1 set off if you're overtraining, a lot of times that can help as well. Then we got switching up the variation. So a lot of this times this happens to people who are not seeing results from a movement that they have been doing over and over and over again. For example, barbell bench press. you plateau and you've tried the other things and it's just not working, then one of the things you could do is switch over to dumbbell bench press, switch over to Smith machine, just regular machine bench presses, or even switch up your grip, close bench press, wide bench press, right? These things all work. Incline bench press. Switching up the variation, the only thing is you need to make sure that you are switching up a variation for a very similar biomechanical movement, right? For example, if I am doing pull downs and I'm like, my lats aren't growing, so I'm going to go to rows, they're completely different movements. One is horizontal, one is vertical, horizontal, vertical. So that variation change is not going to be helpful in solving this plateau issue, but making sure that you are, or just trying out different variations can help stimulate certain muscles that you weren't intentionally using because you got so acclimated and used to one specific range of motion. So switching up the variation can help a lot because of that. Then we got drop sets. I talked about this in the last video, so if you haven't seen that, go watch that now. But with drop sets, essentially it's like adding more volume. You add one set, but instead that last set that you add on is to the last set without rest. So if you do 3 sets, that third set you're finishing going to failure, then you're dropping the weight and adding an extra set right then and there without resting. That's what a drop set looks like. You can add that for up to 2 to 3 exercises of your workout. Or you can add it to all of them for a full week. That's the thing. This plateaus does not have to last months or weeks even. You should be able to get over the plateau with just 1 week adjustment here. All these training protocols, you can just switch up for the week, or that could be your new training program. So rest, pause, reps is the same way as the drop sets, but instead of stacking on sets, you are stacking on power. For rest, pause, reps, you want to stop at the most difficult part of the movement. So for example, for bench, you're stopping at the stretch. You're slowing all the way to that point. So slow about 5 to 10 seconds. It's a 5 to 10 second negative. Then drive up and then release. Re-rack. Relax for 5 seconds. Once you've relaxed for 5 seconds, then take the bar back, do another rep. That counts as 1 rep. And then when you take it off the rack again, that's another rep. Do it for like 5 to 6 reps per set. And then you rest for 2 to 3 minutes instead of your 5 seconds. That can just shift things up. Only do that for the compound movements. It's only worth it to do it for the compound movements. Only do it for 1 exercise per workout as well. Now let's get into nutrition. So of course, as you know, we got to pay attention to the macros, maybe switch them up, maybe do an audit to see if we're actually consistently hitting the macros. Protein, oftentimes we got to hit more. Reverse diet, maybe we could be either bulking too much or cutting too much to the point now we got to switch it up. Or maybe now that we're in the maintenance, we need to switch something up. So specifically, reverse diet refers more to people who are trying to lose weight and they've been in a deficit for too long, so now that they got to go back to a maintenance or even a little bit of a surplus. Lean bulk is when you've been on a maintenance for too long and you're having trouble packing on muscle, so now you got to add a little bit of a surplus in there. So specifically with macros, do your audit. If you are not consistently hitting your macros, you cannot complain that you're plateauing because you're probably just not doing what you need to do on the nutrition side of it. Same thing with the protein. Up your protein intake. That can be, if I weigh 170 at 200 grams of protein a day. If I hit 170, if you're not already hitting 1 gram a pound per body weight, and even then some, maybe 1.2, 1.3, you can add more protein, and that is going to help with both fat loss, muscle building, and strength gain. So eat more protein. Reverse diet. If you are trying to lose weight, you've been in a deficit for a long time now, and the scale's not moving, and you are actually on top of your macros and your protein, then oftentimes that means you might need to increase slightly the calorie intake that you are at. Maybe maintenance, maybe a surplus. This is very specific for the type of person. Do not do this without professional help, because otherwise you could end up messing it all up. The whole point is to fix your metabolism back to normal and be able to maintain a healthy eating lifestyle that also gets you the body you want. Right? So if you eat 1,000 calories and you're supposed to be eating 2,700 and you drop down to 1,000 so that you can lose a bunch of weight, when you lose a bunch of weight, your metabolism is already going to be used to you eating 1,000 calories. Now it's going to be a little bit more than that, but Point being, you can't just go back up to eating 2,500 or even 2,200 at that point, because you've been messed up your digestive system, you've messed up your metabolism, so you just got to fix that. That's usually where the reverse dieting comes into play. Make sure you get professional help for the reverse dieting. Cannot stress that enough. Lean bulk. You don't need professional help for lean bulk, but it certainly does help because you don't want to add too much fat. However, if you're struggling to build muscle or strength, a lean bulk just means you're adding anywhere between 1 to 300 extra calories. That's it. 1 to 300 extra calories consistently on a daily basis. That'll push you over the edge with the plateau, give you that little bit extra fuel you need to make sure that you're breaking through that plateau. Last thing, recovery. Everyone's favorite one. You need to be on a sleep schedule, right? If you're not on a sleep schedule, no wonder you're plateauing. Your body's tapped out. And enough sleep as well, right? So enough sleep, quality sleep, and the sleep schedule. Because if you are not on a sleep schedule, you're not sleeping consistently between said hours, your body cannot perform at its maximum capacity, which is holding you back, which could cause a lot of other factors to prevent you from growth and progressing. So get your sleep down. Stretching nightly. I've noticed this to be one of the best ways to help with both building muscle and strength building, and it probably helps with fat loss too, because if you feel better, then you're going to be having better sleep. Actually, stretching helps with better sleep, which is going to help your energy levels for the next day. It's also going to help you physically feel better so that you'll be more motivated to get to the gym. You're not going to have as many excuses because you're not going to feel super sore and you'll be like, oh, I skipped today, right? So it can help across the board, but stretching even for like 20 minutes right before bed, game changer for me, game changer for my clients that have had to do it. Active recovery or mobility day. A lot of times we take rest days. That's good. We need that. But maybe you need to be doing a little bit more on your rest days. And I don't mean a workout. I just mean getting the blood flowing. Because blood flow is what causes the recovery. It's what flushes out the lactic acid. So whether that's going for a high-paced walk, whether that's biking at a really low intensity, whether that's playing some kind of sport, not going too hard, whether that's like swimming laps. We did that a lot for active recovery, swimming laps, whether it's yoga or whether it's stretching for a full hour, whatever it is. Oh, even other recovery aspects like ice bath, hot tub, and those are debatable depending on the person. So caution to any of that. But just adding in these little tactics here and there that could help with your recovery. And then getting into, on top of that, a deload week. A deload week is like doing active recovery for a full week just in the workout sense. So maybe you need a deload week. If you're overtraining, you might need a deload week. What that means is you take one set off and you drop the RPE about 2. So if you're hitting bench for 4 sets at the RPE of 8, drop it down to 6 and only do 3 sets. Or only do 2 sets. So you drop off 1 set or even 2 sets of every exercise and make it even less close to failure. You're not pushing yourself as hard, but you're still doing all of the same movements. This allows you to recover without losing your strength and going completely tight and throwing off your momentum. Or just take the full week off. If you're training hard enough consistently and you're still not seeing all these gains, might as well just take the week off. It allows our body to reset, and when you come back, it might take you a couple days to get your strength back, but that's it. And then you'll be able to bounce pad forward. You're not going to be restricted anymore. You're not going to be held back by any of this. So very simple concepts. I told you it was going to be pretty quick. I told you it was going to be very heavy as well. So I hope you guys took a lot of notes. Post in the school group what your game plan is. I want to hear what you guys got. I know for me, I'm going to be going into lean bulk, so I'm going to be adding a little bit of a surplus. So I'll be keeping you guys updated with that. Talk about what I eat. But yeah, everyone let me know what you guys are doing. Absolutely continue killing it. You guys are all phenomenal. Stay healthy, stay happy, and I will see you guys all next Friday. Peace.